No dog sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, yeah. Episode 12. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let it go. Yeah. A deeper look into Grand Champion Hog and his dog. Should the Nasty Man dogs be considered hidden gems? Are the LT thread dogs the new whores on the block? Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Just thought I'd come in here different. Instead of, oh yeah, all the time. Whatever. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. Yo, I'm so happy that y'all could join me tonight. Once again, it's on episode 12. Oh man, you know how we do it on our side. Docket full once again. You heard me. And we're gonna get into it. You could have been anywhere else in the Bulldog Talk streets, but you're here with me, and I'm so happy you did. Do your underdeed. I'd like to thank everybody for all their comments, all the things that they put into the chat room when it was live last week about the commentary. I went live on this week to just further talk about what we could do as a community to maybe correct some of the wrong that might have been done in the past with the register of merit list, to get a better picture of what the past was pertaining to the animals, and to give you a better reading on who was even further up the list that possibly could be, and also too those hidden gems, those ones that we probably didn't know or maybe had an idea, but they was much more than what we ever imagined that they were, as far as their production power, both male and female. I appreciate the people that came in on live, Mag Doctor, Hemi James, all the way on the other side of the world in Holland, New Zealand. You know what I'm saying? They came to check in. Dorian, of course, they came to check in with me. Forgive me if I'm, forgetting anybody else, that came in to holler at your boy, and, Borderland, Kennels, Breezy, they came in to holler at your boy. Shout out to all of them that came, check me out on a random live, to talk about a few things concerning the Bulldog community. But I digress. We're going to get into these cases today. For our first case, a deeper look at Grand Champion Hog and his dogs. Oh yeah, it's about that time. We're going to have to take a look at, Grand Champion Hog, and we understand the controversy surrounding War Pony, his sire. On paper, there was a lot of controversy about that, but very little controversy about the dogs that he produced. And, we just want to take a look into, what did they do? Stuff like that from a historical perspective of looking at those dogs. And a lot of times when you have an outstanding animal like a Grand Champion Hog or many others, these dogs can be, pushed and marketed in such a way that, it doesn't give them their just due. And sometimes they show that they are even greater than what you might have thought, so we don't want to, paint a narrative that's not true about an animal, but also too, you don't want to overhype and, add to the propaganda machine in the Bulldog world that seemed like it stay on 100 miles an hour. In season or out of season, we all know that the Bulldog game country, propaganda machine, the rumor mill is on a constant revolving door. It's always on the move. Somebody can put in or throw it out at any given time. You know what I'm saying? Much like it was in the old times. You could get called out at any time. You could get cussed out at any time. You could click up and unite at any time. Or you could fall out at any given time. It can happen. You can get ran down on at any given time. You can get stolen on or stolen from. You understand me? At any time. You know, the internet Bulldog talk streets. I see that they have moved over and brought their same attitude, their same drama, and their same, same good attributes as well into the internet dog talk world. So this is just where we are. So let's go and just begin to look into Grand Champion Hall. For those people that don't know who Grand Champion Hall is, we'll give a brief synopsis or a brief, rundown on his pedigree for those who are uninitiated, who don't know who that is. Mayor Kent's Grand Champion Hall, 8-time winner, comes off of Mayor Kent's War Pony POR and Mayor Kent's Chocolate. Both of these animals are off of Mayor Kent's Lynch. So you got a half brother sister breed off of Mayor Kent's Lynch POR, who's off of the Chico Lopez Damien dog. War Pony has the Mayor Kent Theo, who's off of Grand Champion Barracuda and Southern Kennels Yellow Girl. That's, heavy Mayday. And then we have, Lady Dog, Lynch is off of Damien bred the Lady Dog. Lady Dog is inbred off of Mayday, bred to his sister champion Dragon Lady. In the bottom quarter, the Mayor Kent Coco is this champion Stone City's Jesse James Rod, which goes back to Super Kennels champion 357. Anybody who don't know who that is, just look at my avatar. That is 357. One of my all-time faves. One of the baddest book dogs, in my opinion, that ever was around. Some people might dispute that and say Grand Champion Buster Brown, but I digress. And so, the Grand Champion Stone City's awesome book. So just a heavy Mayday dog, with somewhat of an out with the Stone City Macho book, awesome book, 357 type stuff. The buck is, Miss Leaky blood. So just heavy Bolio Tombstone, Red Boy Jocko. Not much to say. There was never any controversy about Hog himself. There was no controversy that I ever heard of his performance. The legitimacy of his performances or anything of that nature. Never did I hear those things being brought into question. The only thing I ever heard being brought into question was who his sire was. Was it War Pony or not? Because of these black and tan dogs that appeared on the scene, and it had the game in an uproar because never before had you seen any dog bred with that much Mayday. They usually have a certain type of look, a certain uniformed look to them, the buckskin black mask, much like how he looks if you see any pictures of him. But these dogs came out with the Rottweiler colors. Of course, that's gonna always send the game in the uproar. The people that own the animals, and they trying to find out WTF. They want to know, they want answers. And they checked it was a lot of chatter about that. They could check around in the Bulldog community to find out if anyone else had those black and tans. And some people had some dirty buckskin animals that looked like they could have been kind of like a mixed breed of some sort. But I mean, I've also heard too that some people saying that those were some of the best ones, was the funny looking ones. Some people try to put that off on Tombstone in the pedigree, that the black and tan came from that. Some people said that, Allen's Copper, his name began to come up in controversy and swirl in the controversy ring before as who is the true sire of Grand Champion Hall. So we're gonna look more so now into the time period that has passed, and we'll look at in the history of books and see what the results were as far as his production power. And for those who have heard this show before, this is something that we have done before, to just kind of take a peek into looking into the production power of said animal to see how well they produce. So let us look into American's Grand Champion Hog. Okay, I'm looking into it. What in the world? Look like I'm gonna have to call for Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Just from pairs online, I only see about 2 or 3 winners in the whole pedigree. He got 2 pages worth of, animals. There's only 2 winners, 2-3 winners. You know what I'm saying? I had to switch over to another Grand Champion Hall page to find the other, winner. I'm not saying that it's not more of them in the world. I'm not saying that historically they could have been, previously gone by and nobody, but I just haven't heard anything about these animals. And I was just very curious to know, what was the results on those animals and what, had became of those animals out of said animal, out of the hog dog. Because man, maybe some few years ago, he was to talk. And then now I just don't hear, what I'm saying? And I think we're going to get into that when we talk about the LT Trey, conversation. Shout out to Nonstop from Bulldog and with Bo on Dogman TV. We were having a discussion about this on one of the shows. I was, a guest on their show, and they talked about some dogs, even though they were great dogs themselves, could not survive, the peddler stage. And, we're going to get into that on the third and final case, but this may be a situation with, American's Grand Champion Hog where it just, once it goes through the peddling phase and double and triple hog and, what I'm saying, people, any lottie-dottie and everybody can get the animals, then, there's more likely, you making money off the sales of those pups, but, for as people that's actually, and my message is to the people that actually going out purchasing these dogs. What are you seeing in these dogs that make you want to purchase these dogs? Like, what is your eye test telling you about these animals that make them so much want to be, a desirable animal? You know what I'm saying? Like what rep? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times stuff moved by your rep. You know what I'm saying? And then you have other instances where, the rep, it is what it is. And then you get the animals and they are what they say. They said they were, but I like to hear from the people who actually own one of these hog dogs to let me know, what was you looking at when you saw that? Were you looking at hog and thinking that you was going to get one? Or was you looking just at Mayday in the pedigree? And tell the truth, shame the devil,
Hey bro, come on now, dog.
That's something I would like to know from the people who actually purchased a dog off hog. But this is the case on Grand Champion Hog. We just want to look at this. I had to call on Jimmy. Because all I heard was Jimmy Crickets. Somebody could tell me something different in the comments below. I'll be glad to listen. If you could show me another hound somewhere else that might be not on there, or point me in the same direction. As to like, no, these are the ones, I'll be glad to listen. But other than that, that don't look like it's worth a, and I'm gonna just leave the room funky on that one. You know what I'm saying? So, for the case of checking on Grand Champion Hog and his dogs, this case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Add these reading materials to your historical literature collection of the American Pit Bull Terrier. The Big Red Handbook, Family Bred and Raised, Dogs, Dogmen, and Bloodlines, and the Schoolboy Keep. Contact Richard Schoolboy Garcia on Messenger and purchase your part of history today.
Yeah. And for our second case, should the Nasty Man dogs be considered hidden gems? For those people who may not know who Nasty Man is, Nasty Man Kennels, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is in either South America or Mexico. Maybe I'm being specific, maybe not, for, you know, specific reasons, but far south from the U.S., not here in the U.S., but, you know, known for having gotten some of the old Rebel Kennel stuff, that Don's Champion Turtle, the Duprell's Champion, you know, the Duprell's Charlie B, a lot of the Jeep Rascal, you know, the Brotch Demon type stuff. You know, I think he infused some Bolio or some Mayday into it later on, but for the most part, pretty much a Jeep Honey Bunch Rascal cross dogs down there, and has been successful for many years. And, you know, I'm going to take you through a few of these dogs to present the case for why, he should at least get some consideration, for a hidden gem, if not for one of those prominent ones of that era, and the prominent ones of, who continue to represent a certain bloodline that at one time was, you know, very much it, you know, for a lot of us, you know, that's our bread and butter. Also too, you know, run a lot of Jeep Rascal. We added the Red Boy, you know, Red Boy Jeep Rascal, or Jeep Red Boy Rascal, or the Jeep Red Boy Rascal Jocko, you know, people cross the yellow into the Red Boy, the Jeep Red Boy Rascal. Kennels like Hardcore Kennels like, Arkla Combine, you know, use those combinations and been successful for many years. And so I like to think that this yard should get some consideration. So let's take a look.
Let's talk about the Nasty Man dogs. We will start with a very high-powered producer from this camp. Nasty Man's Shana R.O.M. Shana was a very well-bred Jeep Rascal female, which is pretty much what Nasty Man is known to feed. Shana produced 1 ex-Grand Champion and at least 5 champions. She'd also produced 6 two-time winners and 4 one-time winners. Even more significant about Shana is, of those winners, she produced 3 Register of Merit dogs and 3 Producer of Record dogs. The other significant dog in this kennel's history is Nasty Man's Jeff Register of Merit. He was bred by Ricky Jones of Rebel Kennels. Jeff was also a Jeep Rascal dog with some Crenshaw's Champion Otis in him for good measure. Jeff would be bred to Nasty Man's Shana to help build the foundation of Nasty Man Kennels. Dogs like Nasty Man's Champion Gremlin come to mind also. Gremlin was a Bolio Tombstone Rascal Chinaman cross dog that also produced Register of Merit status. Grand Champion Nasty Man's Thai Chai 6XW is yet another great dog that came from the Nasty Man. At least 2 Grand Champions, close to 15 different champions, and countless 1- and 2-time winners came from this camp in history. Salute to Nasty Man Kennels.
Okay, so that was just a short video of some of the significant and foundation of the Nasty Man dogs. And, you know, it's a common theme with those animals, you know, a tremendous amount of success for many years, stayed very consistent within a family of dogs. And also too, those winners were able to produce other winners, because, I mean, the video just was a short snippet. You would have to go and do your own due diligence, as I know that the Bulldog community will do, and they'll see that there's much more. There may be even more Register of Merit dogs from that camp than what I just put. I did a short, but many of their winners, 1- and 2-time winners, are also POR dogs. They can produce themselves. Champions, they're Register of Merit dogs. And even some of those, when I looked up in the pedigree of some of the ones that wasn't Register of Merit, that were champions, they were damn near close, because they also had winners. You know, they wasn't Register of Merit, but they was very close to it. So those animals will be able to reproduce themselves is, I think, is something that I always pay attention to. They're using a very consistent strand over time. I don't care what nobody say about them Rascal dogs. they gonna be around. I'm so sorry to tell you, them Roscoe dogs gonna be around. You know, and it's just that particular strand, Duprez, Charlie B, you know.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on,
I know
man.
what he didn't do at the end, but I'm just saying he was still able to produce, the Bratz Demon, the Rebel Kennels blood with the Don Champion Turtle. You know what I'm saying? I had some of that blood myself personally many years ago, over 22, 23 years ago. But as we move further into the future, those bloodlines will become more rare and rare to see. The Rebel Kennel stuff, the Don Brat, you know what I'm saying? His bloodline of his strand of the Rascal Dogs. You really don't see the Duprez Charlie B stuff. I did a shameless plug. I did a short on Duprez Charlie B this week. Y'all check it out. You under dig. But this is just me pleading my case to the Bulldog community about a camp that's far away from us, and in history, and they were far away from us in distance as far as the landscape is concerned. And I challenge the Bulldog community to widen our gauge as far as the world and the world of Bulldogs. It's much more broader than just the US or just North America. You know, Canada and Mexico is much bigger. So we have to, give account to that. And also too, like I was saying about the registered merit list, in the US and things of that nature, we also need to, tighten up on our microscope as far as, in attention to detail when we look at different things, especially around on the home front. So this is my case for what should we consider Nasty Man as a hidden gem, or is he open? Is he not a hidden gem? Is he? People been knew about him. I'm just late to the party. In the last, 6-7 years. Should we consider Nasty Man as a real hidden gem? This case is now dismissed. Yeah. For my third and final case, it's L33. The L33 dogs. Or Trey, Trey, whatever you want to call them. Are they the new hoes on the block? Yeah, piss puss. Yeah, puss. LT Trey breaking her heels on the track, ain't she? Oh man, she is a late night stalker. A real street walker. Oh man, But let's keep it all the way serious though. This is the real question because, shout out to Nonstop from Bulldog with Bo. And this is a point that he made about some dogs not surviving the peddler stage. And we don't have anything that I know of or anybody that I know of in the Bulldog community have anything bad to say about LT3 or LT Trey. As far as his performance, as far as his accolades, they speak for themselves. Anytime you achieve Dog of the Decade accolades, I think you may have won Dog of the Year multiple years. You don't have anything for, I don't think there's not much debate on who you are, and what your contributions are in the Bulldog community. And now in the first crop, almost kind of like a Mayday scenario in the sense of in the first crop or first couple of crops, there's a lot of good things that, people saw and, champions and winners came out of those first crops, but after that, we just seen like the peddler stage has overwhelmed the LT3 dogs. It just seems like they just being hoarded out, for the name, but without the acclaim of the actual individuals, And this is a common thing that happens. We all seen it happen before many times with a dog that has a lot of fanfare and a dog that has the accolades to back up the fanfare, much like many other dogs, much like Yellow, much like Mayday, much like Buck, many others who have went through this process or after achieving said accolades and said acclaim, Gambler's Grand Champion Virgil. And, and I'm just hoping that he don't end up like a Virgil. You was in 1 minute and you was out the next. You know what I'm saying? You had your little time in the sun for about 3 to 5 years, and then we don't hear nothing from, it's Jimmy there. It's Jimmy the Crickets as far as your descendants down the line, performance wise in any category, in any way. You don't see them confirmations. You don't see the Virgil dogs basically anywhere anymore. And that was, I believe, the last dog of the decade. So this is the new dog of the decade. It's just not looking right. And when I look at these and I go on page and I look at, and the further and further I get, you know about Champion NASCAR and there's a few others, but when we start looking at their offspring and then, we start getting double and triple, LT Trey, Jimmy for sure, real Jimmy. I just want to get the Bulldog community's reaction, response to this. Am I jumping the gun? Is it a sense of, I may not know all there is to know, and I understand that, and I'm open for those type of discussions, and everything is not on pads. I understand that. Please don't get it twisted. Everything is not on pads. Big people do not put all their stuff on pads. And so, is it the fact that I'm jumping the gun? Is that in the sense that the production has went down? Some animals can produce well, but their offspring can't reproduce in that same way. Just like in the last case, that was a great scenario of the foundation dogs were registered merit dogs. Their children was registered merit dogs, and their children's children was POR or registered merit dogs and could perform. Now that is the most ideal in any facet of the Bulldog world. I don't care if you weight pulling, confirmation pulling. I don't care if you wall climbing. I don't care what it is. Or even in the old school traditional sense, that is the ideal way in which you will want your breeding program or your kennel to be able to be run, and therefore setting forth a foundation and a legacy to build upon. That is ideal. That is tremendous on anyone's account, no matter what walk of life it is in these animals, no matter what breed of animals. That's what you want. Is your animals that you got to produce dogs like themselves. If they're great, you want, and if, that you asking a whole lot when you say, I want them to be even greater. But in some cases we've seen in history that they produce even better than themselves, which is even more miraculous. You know what I'm saying? It's more incredible. So is this a case, with LT Trey that we just haven't seen the best that's yet to come from his lineage? Or is it a case where he was overhyped as a producer? He was a great performer, but not his production and him able to continue that production just has begun to fade quickly, even more quickly than many of us maybe had anticipated. So this is the case that I'm presenting for the Bulldog community is the LT Trey dogs, the new whore on the block. Yeah, puss. Yeah, puss. Yeah, kitty. Yeah, kitty. And this case is now dismissed. Oh yeah, now it's time for my closing monologue. Like I say every time, make your next move your best move. Or move strategic, like a chess move. When you out here with your dogs, I think it's one thing to be sure of is to make sure that you study your dogs, that you know everything good and bad and all the traits that there are to know about your dogs. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.